Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Gabriel. I'm from the island of Barbados, and this is my fourth conference here. And what's incredible is that every time I come back here, it seems to be a fresh set of faces. And over the last 4 years, one of the things that were critical was having heart in this space. And yesterday, I arrived at the conference and I met this young man that started telling me his story, and I saw a sparkle in his eyes. And he was explaining the intimidation, and a lot of people in this space right now have a lot of egos. They've accomplished so much, and he's now starting. And it got me thinking. So I messaged Mo this morning, and I said, Mo, I could do my typical presentation on central bank digital dollars and how we went about getting a central bank to create the world's first peer-to-peer cash. But instead, I'm going to tell a story on the past, the present, and the future. So this is for the young entrepreneurs out there with the sparkles in their eyes. So Bitt started with a mission to provide financial inclusion to every last man, woman, and child within the developing world. And it formed because of an understanding of the Caribbean market, where we were born and raised. And some of the major critical issues in the region are from high settlement times, high fees, increasing barriers to entry, and a plethora of problems that affected the ability to get paid within the region of the Caribbean markets. As a matter of fact, in some cases, it's not possible to receive payments in that market. Our slogan was to empower people. So Bitt started with a group, a vision, a mission, and some grit. And in 2014, we partnered with a company called Alpha Point to bring an exchange to the Caribbean region. And we launched it that year. At our first conference here in 2014, we actually came as bi.tt because we couldn't afford bit.com. The central bank, we had an idea for taking the blockchain technology, using the overlay protocol, and allowing a central bank to create a digital version of their national fiat currency. The central bank would not engage us within 2014. As a matter of fact, the governor of the central bank, Dr. Worrell, actually told me when I first presented the idea that I was crazy and I needed to leave his office. We realized as well that a big part of our mission had to be consumer education, because a lot of people back in the day did not actually know what Bitcoin was, what it represented, and what blockchain meant for the decentralized market. The further we got into the solution we were trying to build out, we realized it was an onion-layered problem. The deeper we got, the more we realized that the market of financial activity was inept, and it was lacking in a lot of fundamentals, specifically around the arena of transparency, integrity, and accountability. Our team in 2014 was just under 4 people. Just at the end of the year, we met this cowboy investor that believed in what we were doing, believed in the vision, and he made a capital investment in $1.5 million into Bitt. And it allowed us to start building out and growing our team. We immediately started to focus on anti-money laundering, counterterrorism financing, and the plethora of things that central banks would want to see to have comfort in their environment if they were to move in this direction. Entering into 2015, we had partnered with a company named Kolu that had worked on an overlay protocol on Bitcoin. When we came back to the North American Bitcoin Conference, we came back as bit.com. We had finally had the capital to purchase that. Our mission then became a mission of educating regulators. So over the period of 2015, we represented blockchain technology at the first ever United Nations conference on the subject, the Commonwealth Secretariat, and a series of central banks around the world. It became the year of educating regulators on the topic of cryptocurrencies and informing them on the problems that they can cause if they were to regulate this thing inadequately. Our team was now under 10 people, and we had started engaging CARICOM central banks around the region. Further rejection ensued. Into 2016, we had now launched a mobile wallet and a mobile dollar. We had also launched the ATM, which allowed a consumer to receive dollars on his phone and convert those dollars into physical cash. So this was the first ATM to touch the Caribbean, but it wasn't just a Bitcoin ATM. It was one that spoke to digital dollars. The media education frontier had started, and at this point, we had to make sure the media was aware of what we were doing because of the inaccuracies that they were putting out there to the public. And we felt like they were the number one source to ensure that consumers had the information they needed to be guided accordingly. At this point, the central bank could no longer ignore us. We had been into 13 meetings at this point, and we got the nod of approval from Dr. Delao World of the Central Bank of Barbados. And with that, we also won an award for innovation from the same central bank. Our team was now under 20, and we had just made a huge announcement about being the world's first true digital dollar predicated on blockchain technology. Along the lines at Satoshi Roundtable in 2016, this interesting character approached me that the community had been calling the Bitcoin Messiah. And he came over and said, you know, young man, I'm a huge fan of your work. I'm from the Austrian School of Economics. My name is Dr. Patrick Byrne. Can you tell me more about your digital dollar solution? Within a month, Patrick had flown down to Barbados, met with our government, met with our regulators, and was comforted in the fact of knowing that we had the support we needed to actually build out a decentralized solution for the fiat M1, M0 money base. We entered into a partnership, and Medici became our partners at Bitt with a $16 million Series A investment back in 2016. Moving into 2017 aggressively, we end up partnering with leading KYC and identity service, Netkey. The ecosystem was launched. And this is what's critical right now. The ecosystem replicates the 3 layers of the money supply chain, where central banks issue the dollar, where commercial banks or financial institutions interface with the dollar, and when retail consumers actually access it. And we replicated all 3 layers of this money supply chain digitally. When we came back to the North American Bitcoin Conference in 2017, I actually spoke here last year, and I announced the generation and the formation of this ecosystem, which we end up launching in December, just a month ago. Our central bank frontier of education had now started, and we had started meeting central bank governors around the world, and we went to try to educate them on the importance of moving in this direction. Digital dollars meant cash management was a lot more accurate. Cash accountability was nearly pure. Cash movement and mobility was extremely low costing. Seigniorage and the cost to central banks to actually print physical cash can now be reduced to an efficiency of nearly 99%. A central bank, in theory, could have full economic overview along with suspicious activities and monitoring of their entire economy live as it happens, which is pretty critical from a point of financial inclusion, because in the region, we tout over 100% mobile penetration rate to consumers. This means that those who have been cut off from the financial world, which is approximately 50% of adults in the region, can now have access to global financial markets with a device that sits in their pocket. That's pretty impressive. Rejection at this point was minimal. There was no doors that we weren't able to get through. No governors or central banks weren't willing to hear us. Our central bank white paper had started permutating across the globe. It had reached IMF, it had reached World Bank, it had reached every last corner of the central banking ecosystems. We had started forming central bank working groups to start working with central banks directly on the process, procedure, and the exact oversight of the architecture that would be needed to create a pyramid around an ecosystem. Our team is now under 60 people. Present day. Bitt just launched last month M-Money, which is a product of ours that is powered by the Barbadian digital dollar. It is live in the market at Barbados and actively taking on merchants. It's a complete ecosystem that's wrapped around blockchain technology and utilizes some of the coolest immutable ledger systems. Education with zero gaps is now our frontier, where we educate everyone across the board of all 3 layers of the money base, whether you're a regulator, a central bank, a consumer, or financial institution. We've been inspiring central banks globally, and as a matter of fact, there's dozens of central banks now moving towards issuing central bank digital dollars in their own image. Bitt is part of the Financial Inclusion Global Initiative with the International Telecommunications Union and the United Nations, an initiative of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And this to ensure that everyone in the world has access to finance, global financial systems, and the ability to be part of a global financial system. We've been leading the policy recommendations and frameworks, helping governors of central banks redraft their central banking acts or their financial institution acts in accordance with digital account provisioning. Currently, we have several central banks in the pipeline and actively are working on a pilot to start deploying these systems across the region. We're working to convert financial institutions to digital cash account providers. This means that the commercial bank you deal with today might very well start offering you not just checking and savings accounts, but digital cash accounts, allowing you to be part of a protocol-based system. We entered into a growth strategy where we hired a CEO to replace myself and my co-founder so that we could start focusing on the more innovative things. And I say that for the entrepreneurs in this room because it's important that you have focus. And for 4 years, we focused on Bitt and only Bitt, and we served that one God. But now that we're at a point where the company's flourishing, we're able to now turn to someone with more education and experience and more strategy and a little bit more gray hairs to help move the company into its next generation. The future. So Bitt has successfully launched its ecosystem. We're working on that ecosystem across different central banks around the world, allowing them to overnight turn their entire economy into a digital smart economy. So one of the most important things that we'll continue to do, no matter where the future goes, is education. We'll further the approach towards policy frameworks and advocacy. But one of the most impressive things that we're going to do in the near future is introduce a digital dollar standard, a protocol-level framework from financial participation, allowing central banks around the world, no matter what technology they issue their digital dollar on, that they can follow a standard towards interconnectivity. This is kind of critical because you have the instance of where one central bank might want to use an ERC20 protocol, or another central bank might want to use Bitcoin's overlay protocol, or Bitfury's Exonum, Hyperledger by IBM, Cardano, Aeon. There's a ton of variants out there. The problem is ensuring that they all connect and talk to each other so that we can introduce federations of central banks. And in doing so, we can create alternative central bank clearing facilities. Why this is important is because in doing so, what you can end up building is a monetary and fiscal policy that's predicated on a brand new layer of digital dollar settlement. And in doing so, you can create interconnected central bank digital ledger. A quick hint is that it's possible to build a utility around these central bank settlement systems. And hopefully one day we'll be making that announcement. Wrapping up, today's presentation was not only about shedding light on the positive economic empowerment of central banks and monetary systems through blockchain technology, but rather to portray the notion that a once sparkle-eyed group of individuals banded together with an agreement to change the world, and through sweat, blood, and tears, literally, we're doing exactly that every single day. There's still so much to do. And we haven't even scratched the surface of restructuring that is needed for a more transparent and accountable future. This is only the beginning of the revolution, and it's up to you, sparkled eyes, to build the next generation and wave of infrastructure. The challenge to make the world a better place may seem like an overwhelming task, but as only the construct of a centralized mind. Understand, to be no one from a dot on the map, it's okay. Because the only thing that you need is a commitment to your dream, loyalty to your heart, and I promise you'll change the world bit by bit. Thank you very much.